Hey folks, welcome back to another video. Today we are looking at question 1337, the k weakest rows in a matrix. The way we'll be approaching this problem is by counting the number of soldiers in each row and somehow storing it, accounting for the row index. So let's jump right in. Let's get the number of rows that we have to tackle. So that would be math.length. Let's get the columns as well. Math of 0.length. Right, and then let's initialize a new resulting array that will keep a track of all of the scores, and let's initialize that to size r because we want to iterate throughout all of the rows in the matrix that's given to us and calculate the score. So let's do that right now. For int I equals 0, I less than r, increment r, and you would have for int j equals 0, j less than c, increment j. So since all of the ones are coming in from the left, so as soon as you come across one instance where it is equal to 0, you would just break it and you would update the score. So let's say res of I would be equal to res of, so it would be j. Oh, so since we need j, you would just initialize that outside and this would just go empty. You would say j plus I. So just let me walk you through this. So we'll say j plus I. So what we're doing here is j, what we're doing is we're just looking at the score, and then I keeps a track of the index. However, this right here, j plus I, could actually represent something that's wrong, because for example, if j plus I is less than the columns that we have, that will represent a wrong number in the score. So what we need to do is we need to represent this j value in such a way that we can manipulate that later to get back this value, but it shouldn't interfere with sorting the entire array. So the best thing to do would be to multiply this by the number of rows that exist, and I hope that makes sense. Let's look at how we would calculate this. So after we have that, we will sort the arrays that we have, and this would be resulting array. And then for each of the values, I less than r, I plus plus, you would just say result of I would just be equal to result of I modulus r. So the result that we actually wanted here, we are reversing that and assigning it right here. And the reason why we needed to do j multiplied by r is because to keep the result of this intact so that it doesn't come in the way of us sorting the array. So this step and this step, so on line 22 and line 25, in line 22 you're keeping a track of the score and you're manipulating it somehow. You're multiplying that by the number of rows and you're adding the index itself. So when you do that and when you sort the array, the values are still sorted in such a way that they're still clean. That means the values are still true. But the problem with that is that they are not representative of the true values, even though the order still holds. So this step from line 26 to 27 is taking care of reverting those values to the original values. So the only reason why we need to do step 22 is to keep the order, but make sure that adding I to it doesn't in any way mess with the numbers or the scores. So I hope that makes sense. And in the end, you would just return the array, but you would return just from 0 to k. So you would just say arrays dot copy of range, yeah. And you would take res and you would go from 0 to k. So let's quickly compile this and see if it's okay. First test case is okay. Everything else is okay as well. That's awesome. So let's quickly talk about the space and the time complexity. The space complexity of the entire solution is O of n, since you are taking into consideration the array right here, the one that you're creating, and the complexity would be O of n log n because you're doing for loops right here. So in that case, it would be n square actually. So there are two for loops, so it would be n squared multiplied by log n because you're taking into consideration the sorting. So that would be the time complexity. Cool. So if there are any questions, please let me know in the comments below, and please don't forget to subscribe. I would really, really appreciate that. See you all in the next video. Peace.